Let's say that your top match for your career category is transportation. You go on Indeed.com and you simply type in transportation. And let's say that you want to live in a big city. Let's say New York. There's going to be a lot of options there. All right, so we're going to click Find Jobs. Now, there are going to be tons of options. So let's say within 100 miles, I want to include a fair amount of stuff in the city. So um, let's look at these different tabs. We've got date posted. These are different ways you can narrow your search. So you've got date posted, and you can choose how recent of a job posting you'd like to include. You can list whether or not you'd like to work with a remote job or a temporarily remote job. As we saw, you can choose the radius of your search. So if you want to live in a very specific place and you want to work within 5 miles of where you live, you can select that. If you're willing to live just in a general area, you can choose a bigger search area. You can choose a salary estimate, and you can see that most of these jobs range from $35,000 to $70,000 a year. This number shows you how many of the options fall in which category. Job type. This tells you if you're looking for full-time or part-time work. If you're looking for contract work, so that means you don't necessarily work a strict schedule. You work kind of on your own time or for a period of time. Temporary, that would be a temp job. So you're only going to work for this amount of time. You're only going to work for the holiday season. And then an internship. So we all know what those are. That's kind of an entry level, you're figuring things out. Now, location, you can choose any city that it lists, or township, or whatever that it lists. Company, if you have a specific company you want to work with, like if you wanted to work with AutoZone or Uber Eats, you could choose a specific company. And then experience level, well, since you're just starting out, let's click on entry level. We want to narrow this just a little bit. And we don't want to do a remote job, so we're not going to select anything there. Now, let's go ahead and pick a job to read over. Let's say that you would like to look at the professional driver or chauffeur job. Let's go ahead and click on that link. So it's going to tell us a number of things. It's going to give us the job title, the company that you're going to work for, where the job is, how much you'll make, and how much you'll be working. So this job is full time, 40 hours or more a week. So then it tells you the number of hires. Okay, so that's saying if they only need to hire one person, then it's going to say one hire needed. If they need a lot of people for the position, you might see something like this, an ongoing need. The next section is going to be qualifications. So that's going to say what you have to know how to do or what you have to be able to work that job. So you have to have been a driver, a licensed driver for at least a year. You have to have an in-date driver's license. You have to have U.S. work authorization. So if you are not a U.S. citizen, you have to have um, permission to work in the U.S. And then they have a preferred qualification, which is a chauffeur's permit. Now, it is not required, but they are probably going to choose candidates for interviews that have this preferred qualification over ones that don't. Okay, so now let's look at the job description. The chauffeur is responsible for transporting clients in a professional, accommodating, courteous, and efficient manner while providing safe driving and comfort at all times. So now let's look at the essential duties and responsibilities. This is where you want to pay attention to what you've learned in the career connection inventory and the unique you inventory. Because if there is something in here that fits you perfectly, or that you're thinking, I'm really not sure about that, that can help you decide whether or not it's something you want to apply for. Now, the first thing, it says you're going to be a direct representative. You have to be on time, safe, professional, accommodating, courteous, efficient, and non intrusive. So, if you are not a people person, if you do not particularly like um, being exceptionally polite, might not be the greatest thing for you. You have to maintain a high level of appearance, so you cannot dress casually for this job, and you're going to have to keep your car clean. Respecting client privacy and confidentiality, so you can't talk about what you're doing. Provide a safe, smooth, and comfortable ride. If you're not a good driver, you don't want to do this. You'll have to communicate to dispatch, so you need to know how to communicate needs at the end of a shift or during a shift. Again, maintain cleanliness of the vehicle. You have to make sure you have vehicle documentation. So, just like in a normal car, you have to have registration, insurance, etc. You have to be on time and professional. You have to be comfortable interacting with businesses, companies, etc. in a professional manner. You have to be able to complete timesheets and run sheets. You need to know the area. If you can get, as I say, if you can be lost in a paper bag, which is how I am, I can get lost anywhere, even where I've grown up. If that's you, you do not want to do a job like a professional chauffeur because you need to know where you're going, know traffic patterns, know routes, know shortcuts. That's going to be essential to this job. Now we go down and it says more qualifications. You have to be able to perform each essential duty in an exemplary manner. So they are expecting high quality work. Now, that's a fairly high weekly salary. So they are going to expect you to earn that. They want you to be motivated and to want to provide high quality safety, service, and satisfaction. The fact that those all start with S's, there's some alliteration there, tells me that that is something they are really going to focus on. Anytime you hear something that is alliterated or rhyming, and alliteration just means, in case you don't remember from middle or high school English, that just means it starts with the same letter. If you see something like that over and over, that is probably one of their sort of mottos or mantras. They prefer for you to have college coursework or a degree. You have to have graduated high school or gotten a GED. They're probably going to look at individuals who have completed some or all of a college degree before they look at individuals who haven't. You have to be able to understand the importance of your tasks and how to represent a company in a very professional way. You have to have it, well, they prefer for you to have a year of professional driving experience in the area that you want to work. It's not required, but again, they're probably going to look at candidates first who have that experience because that's going to mean that that candidate is more able to carry out this new job to the best of their ability. Interpersonal skills. So when we talked about um, the multiple intelligence theory, interpersonal intelligence is something you'll probably need to do this job well. You'll need to be able to communicate well, efficiently, in a courteous manner, and in a way that makes other people feel comfortable. You need to have good interpersonal skills, be a good communicator, etc. You've got to have good reasoning ability. So, um, if you're working in New York City as a driver, obviously you are going to need to know how to remain calm under pressure, how to quickly respond to traffic changes or um, routes being too busy or blocked off. Again, communication skills. That goes with interpersonal skills. You need to be able to read, write, speak, and comprehend in a manner suitable to the situation. So you're going to need to be um, competent with communication, and then you're going to need to be able to perform whatever mathematical functions they're requiring. Now, obviously, we can't know what those are until probably you finish the application. So now let's look at, they're going to tell you what the job entails. You get benefits with this job of health insurance and vision insurance. That's always good. If you can work a job that provides benefits, I would always recommend that. Unless you have a way to get affordable insurance outside of your employer. You'll work all weekdays, Monday to Friday, and again, it's a full-time job, so you can expect to work a full shift each weekday. You can receive tips on top of what you're earning from the company. You are required to have been a licensed driver for at least a year. And again, it recaps what it said at the beginning. You are required to have a driver's license. It's preferred that you have a chauffeur's permit. So again, that's going to tell them that you know what you're doing, you're experienced in this field, and you are going to be a quality employee. They prefer that you're willing to travel. You're going to work from one location. It's not a remote job. You're driving people around. You cannot do that from home. And it does tell you that this job is brand new. It has just been posted. And then it says at the bottom, if you require alternate methods of application or screening, you have to approach the employer directly. Okay, so that's what that job looks like. Let's say that we really didn't think that was for us. Let's look at a truck driver job. It's going to tell you, okay, there's a sign-on bonus of $3,000. You have to have a driver's license. It tells you how much you're going to make an hour, how much you're going to make overtime, where you need to apply. You can email your application or apply in person. Now, not many jobs or hiring committees prefer in-person applications anymore. If the job posting does not specifically say apply in person, don't. If it doesn't specifically say call, don't. Because I have had experience with hiring committees that if someone does not apply online, if they don't follow those directions of doing an online application and they try to go in and apply or call in and apply, they will immediately get bumped off of the list because they're not following the company's preferred policies or directions. Now, this application, obviously, you can apply in person. It tells you that they'll train you. You don't have to have any experience. You don't have to have a specific license yet. You're going to work 5 days a week, year round. You've got paid medical and dental insurance. They provide a uniform. You've got 2 weeks of paid vacation, 5 sick days. So you can take up to 2 weeks off for vacation. You can take up to 5 excused sick days and be paid. If you take more than that, you will not be paid for those additional sick days. You're paid for holidays off. It doesn't say what holidays. So that would be something you'd maybe want to ask about if there's something on a particular holiday that's important to you or your family. It lists that there's a 401k. Now, the previous job did not list that. So, this job, they're going to help you save for retirement. It tells you how much you'll earn a week, and you have unlimited overtime. That is something to keep in mind. If it says unlimited and mandatory overtime, you will probably be working significantly more than full time. You may be working 50, 60 plus hours a week. So it says they've been in business for 45 years. They don't lay people off. 250 employees and growing. So looks like they're uh, a fairly well set company. But you still want to keep in mind, yes, they're going to train you, but if you have a family, if you have obligations outside of work, this might not be a great job for you if you need to be available at home fairly often because you will be on the road a lot. So now let's go back up. Here's 2 different job examples and how to read them. Let's say that we wanted to do an advanced job search. Let's click on that. Okay. This is sort of like the Boolean logic that we've already looked at. It's more or less a programmed version of that logic for you. You don't have to type in specific words like and not, or it's going to do that for you. So let's say we want to do transportation. We want at least one of these words. So let's see, transportation. Let's say that you are a friendly person. Let's say that you want to drive. Let's say that you're interested in working with a car or a truck. And let's say that want to you don't want to work in a big city. So you might say, you might just type in city. You can type in specific phrases. I did forget to mention that just a second ago. So if you want to work a job, let's say you were doing something outside of transportation, you were in the business world, and you want to work for a company that has a focus on the environment or on family first or some specific organization that they support, you could put that phrase or name in here. If you know that you're looking for a certain type of job, you know sort of what job title you'd be interested in, you can put that here. If you know that you want to work with a certain company, you can put the name of the company here. It lets you select which sort of job you're interested in. So commission, you'll work as you're asked to, full-time, 40 hours or more a week, temporary, for a short period of time, contract, for a period of time, as you take jobs, etc. Internship, so an entry-level job probably isn't going to pay well. A part-time job, so less than 40 hours a week. You can show jobs from all websites, specifically from job boards or specifically from employers. So if they're only listing things on their own website or if they're listing things everywhere, you can choose options from those. And if you want to make a specific amount a year, so let's say that we want to make 50K. Okay, you can put that in there. All right, let's say this time that we want to work within 25, well, let's go back to 100, within 100 miles of NYC, and we don't want to be specific about when the job was posted. So let's see what we find with that. Okay, so we've got some similar listings. Driving truck, dispatcher, bus driver. Okay, now these are going to be more specific, and you see that instead of being a weekly amount or an hourly amount, these are salaried. So this is going to be a minimum of $50,000 a year since we selected that. And each of these is going to include or not include things that you put in the advanced search. So that's the gist of Indeed.